I hope everyone's doing well today. I was thinking earlier, a lot of things have changed since COVID, but Wednesday at 4 p.m. still feels about the same. But I hope everyone else is doing well. My name is Brad Pylan. I'm a disaster relief attorney with Legal Aid of North Carolina. Last week, I had a bit part in part one of this presentation with Alicia and Jocelyn, and they discuss more what community lawyering was like in a larger context. And today I'm talking about community lawyering as it relates to the work we do at the Disaster Relief Project. And this is just a quick, agenda of what we're just gonna, again, go over community lawyering for people who may have been on the call or watched the video last week. You've already heard it. If not, we'll go over it again. We'll talk more generally about what we do at the Disaster Relief Project, and then we'll talk about how the community approach fits together with disaster relief work and some specific examples of this type of legal work in a disaster relief context. And then we'll go over some frequently asked questions. And so again, to reiterate, and sorry for the people that were paying attention last week, community lawyering, I'm having trouble saying that word, is when lawyers work with community groups to identify and address client community issues. It focuses on a community perspective to address legal problems. And some people may be wondering, what in the world does that mean? And it's just, sometimes, and especially in disaster context, a lot of times we're dealing with, individual clients, and but what's good for maybe this particular individual may not, work as well with, with everybody in the community. And so we try to sort of broaden our perspective and when taking a community approach. And some examples of what this looks like is a grassroots approach, and a lot of this, a lot of this entails going to meetings, or used to entail going to meetings. Now it's Zoom, just getting out in the community. And like I mentioned earlier, community solutions can provide a greater and longer impact. We try to come up with a strategy that will help, not only a few individuals here, but, the whole community move forward. And it's an alternative remedy to litigation. I know people always think lawyers just want to sue, but it's not always the most, most productive option to, accomplishing whatever goal it is you have. And we try to work with the community group and other partners to achieve that goal. And then if litigation happens, it happens, but we try to avoid it. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm part of the Disaster Relief Project, Legal Aid of North Carolina. As you can probably guess by the title, we help people involved in, have been involved in natural disasters. Our project originally started as a Hurricane, Florence project back about 1.5 years ago, and we help, our clients and communities focus on long-term recovery. And and some of this is just, consumer protection matters, insurance, bad contractors, landlord tenant. We deal with a lot of air property issues. Generally there's a lot of groups out there that are helping people, but they want these property situations to be cleared up before they can step in. We deal with a lot of that. Do some estate planning, deeds, POAs, and really anything related to natural disasters. The list could be a lot longer. So that's a little bit about what our project does. So how does this community approach fit together with our disaster relief work? And, in a lot of, in a community context, and I think the reason they asked me to do this is I, I directly, help out some of these community groups. A lot of times we're dealing with what we call, long-term recovery groups. And I think the easiest way to envision, what we do is we kind of act in a sort of a quasi general counsel role at times for these groups. We attend meetings. Of course, now it's virtually. And a lot of it's sitting back and listening. And, without fail, some sort of, legal-ish problem will come up. And really our goal for these groups is to help, these long-term recovery groups focus on the thing that they're best at. And that's the case management and helping the clients that are in need. But occasionally, legal issues will come up. It may be getting, a form for volunteers when they were coming around. It could be, maybe they have, they're worried about, someone they're trying to help out that's saying, they're going to sue them, and we may say they don't really have they're not really going to sue you over anything. They're just saying stuff, and another big thing we do as well, and we get a lot of questions about is, a lot of these groups invariably will want to, maybe incorporate. And so we help, guide groups through that. If they want to become a full-fledged nonprofit, that's something we've done for a number of organizations. And we try to, help each group weigh the pros and cons. Some groups may be in a better position than others to become a 501c3. And so we try to help guide them through that. And that's just kind of a small sample of what we do. And now we get the frequently asked questions. And as I was alluding to earlier, one of the big things we get in these, especially in the long-term recovery groups, is, questions about incorporation. We also help, it's just, they don't have to be a recovery group. Sometimes it's just communities. And, one of the most challenging things I think in this line of work is just, navigating all the different options that are out there for people. Ultimately, I mentioned this last week, we're almost kind of an extreme housing unit. We're trying to, whether it's landlord tenant or, helping someone obtain, various money for repairs, we're really trying to help people get back into a better housing situation. And navigating that process can be, really confusing, even for new people that come onto our project. It can take a while to, just really get a hold of the vocabulary. And so a lot of what we're doing with some of these community groups as well is just letting them know what options are available to them. And, it's our job to try to keep track of that. Those are, with incorporation and just knowing what resources are out there, those are the primary questions we get. And there's just all sorts of little things that, other things that come up. We've, helped various groups with lease agreements. And then a lot of times too, it's just simply talking about recovery organizations, trying to help them with best practices moving forward and just trying to help them get organized. A lot of times there's not, we may have we may have a problem that's not necessarily a legal problem per se, but, as attorneys, you're at least supposed to have some level of competence in reading documents, understanding different regulations, and, being able to, take all that and synthesize that and make sense of everything. And so we can put those skills to use in contexts that may not necessarily be legal in nature, but it also can be assistance to these groups. Because in the end, what we want to help, if it's a long-term recovery group, we want to help them focus on what they're doing for the members of the community. And if it's a community group, a particular neighborhood, we really just want to help guide them and help them take the best steps to recovering and let them know about all the resources that are available to them. And with that, I think that's about it. I hope it made some sense. If people do, have any questions, I believe I've put my email at the end of this presentation. Yep, there it is. It's bradp@legalaidnc.org. That's about it. So for anyone who's listening, I hope you got something out of it. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me. I'll get back to you.